Tonight on Cronkite News, we'll tell you about the close race on a $1 million ballot question here in the Valley.
I'm Nick Carmia outside the Supreme Court where Kris Mayes is challenging the Trump administration's tariffs. More to come.
And Sun Devil basketball began on a high note last night. We've got reactions and a recap of the season tip-off coming up. Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Christopher Zavios.
I'm Aiden Blanks. Thanks for joining us.
We begin tonight with a case before the U.S. Supreme Court involving tariffs imposed by President Donald Trump.
Yeah, tariffs have been a centerpiece of the president's administration, but many say they're illegal, including Arizona's Attorney General. Cronkite News reporter Nick Carmia has more from Washington.
President Trump has used tariffs to collect billions in revenues and use them as leverage against key trading partners like Mexico, China, and Canada. Half of all U.S. imports right now are subject to these tariffs, and here at the Supreme Court, Arizona and other states argued the president doesn't have that power.
Arizona and other states, along with a coalition of businesses, agree that the president can regulate imports under a 1977 emergency powers law, but their lawyers argue that Congress never gave presidents unilateral power to impose tariffs, taxes on imported goods, something none of the last 7 presidents claimed.
Our small businesses are going to continue to go out of business if these tariffs are allowed to stay in place. And so the stakes of this particular argument could not possibly be higher.
The justices heard more than 2.5 hours of oral argument, more than twice the usual time. By the end, most of the justices made clear they are skeptical of the Trump administration's defense of the tariffs.
The court's decision could have major implications on presidential powers over trade and the economy. It could also impact everything that everyday Americans import into this country. Nick Carmia, Cronkite News in Washington.
Thanks, Nick. It is not yet clear just when the Supreme Court will issue its ruling.
As of today, the government shutdown is now the longest one in history at 36 days and counting. This morning, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson blamed the shutdown on Democrats.
The Democrats shut down the government out of fear. They have never been more afraid at any point than they are right now. They know, as we all do, what their own polls show. The leadership of the Democratic Party is the most unpopular with members of their own Democratic base.
Democrats are blaming the GOP, saying they're refusing to work with them on health care. The historic shutdown has caused several problems. For example, the Department of Transportation may have to close some airspace due to a shortage of air traffic controllers.
And another concern affecting about 1 in 8 Americans is the loss of funding for SNAP benefits. Despite the uncertainty, communities across Arizona aren't waiting. Cronkite News reporter Alexandra Medina shares how local businesses are coming together to make sure nobody is without food on the table.
As of November 1st, SNAP benefits were not paid out to millions of Americans, leaving many with an emergency, turning to food banks like St. Mary's in Phoenix for help. And Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs said it never had to happen.
The shutdown doesn't even have to end. The president has these funds at his disposal and he could free them up right now.
On Friday, a federal judge ruled that SNAP benefits must be paid out, at least partially. But it may be too little, too late, leaving state leaders searching for answers.
Everything is on the table, including looking at rainy day funds in this situation.
But instead of waiting for government, local businesses are stepping up to the plate to make sure each table is full.
Everybody needs help at some point, and that's what community is supposed to do.
Audrey Corley is the owner of Title IX Sports Bar, Boycott Bar, and Dahlia Tapas, Tequila, and Wine in the Phoenix Melrose District.
I know our community is hurting right now, and I figure what better place than to do it here.
Corley planned to help those in need, and she inspired dozens to do the same.
To me, if I have something extra, I should be able to give back to somebody else, whether it's buying backpacks for kids or clothes or food, and that's how my entire team feels.
I myself was struggling at one point, and Audrey came by and helped us out big time, you know, and that little bit of kindness always goes a long way. It really, really does. And the fact that we're able to stand here today and help the community, volunteer, especially working in a place like this that is always giving, it's an incredible feeling.
With government assistance out of reach, many are relying on the kindness of neighbors and the strength of their community, desperate to feed their families. In Phoenix, Alexandra Medina, Cronkite News.
If you or someone you know is in need of food assistance, there are many food drives going on across the valley.
All right, so we're at the big board. We're going to take a look at the election results in Maricopa County right here on their website. The result we're focused on is Proposition 409. Now, this has to do with Valleywise. It's an $898 million bond to benefit Valleywise's behavioral health care system. As of the airing of this program, this is a very, very tight race. Those voting for the proposition up by about 1%, maybe a little bit more, with about 570,000 votes counted. The no vote is very close behind, though, and this is an off-year election. It had a little bit lower turnout than previous off-year elections. About 21% of registered voters turned in ballots this year. That's a decrease from about 25% in the last off-year election of 2023.
Another big issue for voters, school funding. Cronkite News reporter Kennedy Humble has more on the 21 Arizona school districts that were on the ballot. Kennedy?
That's right, and not only bonds, but overrides and real estate transactions were also being requested by Maricopa County. One school district, the Chandler Unified School District, asked voter approval for a $271.5 million special bond and override. According to the official website, the money will fund a transportation fleet, construction projects, school improvements, and more.
It's a challenging issue, especially when you talk about things like an override. A lot of folks think that that means schools overspent their budget, which is not the case.
When looking at the additional districts included in the election, some are leaning towards not passing, including Buckeye Elementary School District. Within the election, Maricopa County reported that less than 25% of people mailed in their ballot, meaning that less than 1 out of every 4 voters participated.
And when that happens, the electorate trends older, it trends more conservative, and fewer people are paying attention. The folks that have kids at home aren't necessarily voting, despite the fact that it's for their own best interest to support the schools.
In a consumer affairs survey that ranked each state in Washington, D.C., Arizona's public system ranked last in school funding, as well as scored low in graduation rates, class sizes, and more.
You know, it's really unfair that kids and educators have to go through this in this state when our state, you know, recently passed a $1 billion voucher program, right? There are resources that our state has, and they're choosing to not use it on our public schools, and it's unfortunate.
The results are still being counted and were last updated on November 4th at 8 p.m. We will continue to keep you updated with these continuing results. In the newsroom, Kennedy Humble, Cronkite News.
There were also some big elections across the country. Democrat candidate Zohran Mamdani won the election for mayor of New York, beating former Governor Andrew Cuomo and Republican Curtis Sliwa. Mamdani will be the first Muslim mayor of New York City and the youngest in over a century. He ran a campaign based on promises to make New York more affordable, but his status as a Democratic socialist has received backlash from Republicans. Mamdani expressed openness to speak with Republicans, mainly President Trump, about New York policies.
I continue to be interested in having a conversation with President Trump on the ways in which we could work together to serve New Yorkers, whether that be delivering on his campaign promises around cost of living or the many issues that New Yorkers have been sharing with me about the drastic impacts that the legislation that President Trump has ushered through Washington will mean for them and their lives.
The mayoral race had the largest turnout in more than 50 years. 2 million New Yorkers voted. Mamdani takes office on January 1st.
We will have more national news coming up next, including the latest on a UPS plane crash that burst into flames last night.
And new numbers out reveal the average age of a first-time homebuyer is the oldest it's ever been. More on the new report and why
average low temperatures across the valley. Those high temperatures, though, still toasty above average. We'll have the full forecast coming up next on
where Cronkite can be creative.
When I was younger, there were no engineers around me, so I had to become my own role model. At ASU, I wasn't just learning to be an engineer, I was actually engineering. And graduating, I already had real-world jobs lined up. Before ASU, my goal was to be a strong, confident woman. And when I left, I became a strong, confident engineer.
Welcome back. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear declares a state of emergency following a deadly plane crash.
As of the airing of this program, officials count at least 9 people were killed.
The UPS plane was preparing to leave for Honolulu when the left wing caught fire and an engine fell off. Governor Beshear says the plane crashed very close to several businesses and industrial plants, but did not cause significant damage.
This plane barely missed a restaurant bar. It was very close to a very large Ford plant with hundreds, if not 1,000+ workers. It was very close to our convention center that's having a big livestock show that people were arriving for. So really tough, but recognize it could be worse.
The National Transportation Safety Board's investigation is still ongoing.
The U.S. economy added 42,000 private sector jobs last month. That's 4,000 more than analysts expected. This follows months of back-to-back job losses. However, officials stated that while October marks a change in job growth, the pace of hiring in many industries is far slower than the beginning of the year. The latest employment snapshot comes from the payroll processing company ADP, a source that's become more closely watched recently due to the government shutdown. And that's led to an absence of job data at the federal level.
Meanwhile, the age of a first-time home buyer is the oldest it has ever been at 40 years old. Also, first-time buyers now make up of just 21% of the housing market, a record low. This is a big shift from the crash of 2007, in which the median age of home buyers was 28 years old and first-time buyers made up of 40% of the market. For many, high mortgage rates and high prices continue to be the barriers. Turning now to weather. It has still been a little warm during the afternoons, but that could change.
Yeah, Edward Neiman joins us now from the Cronkite Center with our forecast. Edward.
Welcome into the Cronkite Weather Center. Highs today a little above average, and that's the trend that we're going to see continue throughout much of that extended forecast. First, though, let's take a look at your evening planner. We're hanging right around that 80-degree mark here in the 7 o'clock hour. We'll cool all the way down to 73 degrees at 10 p.m. Some cloud cover entering the area, but temperatures will start to cool off once that sun begins to set. Low temperatures for tomorrow right on par here in the Phoenix area, 60 degrees, right around that average for this time of year. 54 degrees down in Tucson, and then a few places up north below freezing. 30 degrees at Flagstaff, and 24 is your low temperature for Thursday at the Grand Canyon. High temperatures tomorrow, 86 degrees here in Phoenix, and much warmer, 88 degrees out in Yuma, and then up north Flagstaff, you'll warm up to 64 degrees, and then 66 is your high at the Grand Canyon. Your 8 to 8 day planner for tomorrow, 65 degrees at the 8 o'clock hour. Will warm up and hit that high temperature in between the 2 and 5 p.m. hours, and then that sun will set. Temperatures will crawl back into the 70s and eventually the 60s as the evening hours arrive. Your 8-day forecast, average high temperature for this time of year is 81 degrees, so across the board we're hitting above that average. A slight cool down though as we head towards the weekend, 84 degrees on Friday, 85 on Saturday, and then that warm up begins on Sunday as we head towards the work week. 87 degrees will be your high. Low temperatures though sticking right around the lower 60s to mid 60s as we get towards next week. That'll do it from the Cronkite Weather Center. I'm Edward Neiman.
Thanks, Edward. Looks like a beautiful week ahead. Coming up next, the story of two twins turned sports stars at their high school.
And how their love of sports brings them closer together. Hear the story of these two twins after the break.
When I was younger, there were no engineers around me, so I had to become my own role model. At ASU, I wasn't just learning to be an engineer, I was actually engineering. And graduating, I already had real-world jobs lined up. Before ASU, my goal was to be a strong, confident woman. And when I left, I became a strong, confident engineer.
The scientists and engineers that support the next mission to Mars could be in this class.
Getting a degree at ASU is a journey that can take you anywhere. Into a world of groundbreaking technology and renowned award-winning faculty. Professors who help you to impact the world. Whether you're on campus or at home, becoming your best starts with learning from the best.
Welcome to the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Farah Bojalad. We begin tonight with ASU men's basketball, who tipped off their season last night. And with only one returner, it was a brand new team taking the court. It was Bobby Hurley's 11th opening night at ASU, and his new team started off hot, building a 12-point lead at halftime over Southern Utah. The Sun Devils kept the momentum rolling in the second half, building their lead to 22 points. Leading to an 81-64 victory. And with the challenges of a rebuilt roster, Coach Hurley says the team is ahead of the curve.
Everything about this team, you know, how they conduct themselves, you know, just on campus and you know, little things that people that work with them on a day in and day out basis are very complimentary of who they are as people. And even today, our pregame warm-up, I thought, was like way better. Like our coaches came in saying like these guys were talking and they were, you know, working hard and they were excited to play. And so from that standpoint, I really don't have issues.
And even though the team lacks experience playing with each other, Hurley says it's easier to mold them the way he wants this year.
I felt like I could coach with a free mind, and it was if I wanted to sub someone out, I wasn't worried about the fallout, you know, and that could be a number of things, believe me. But this group, they accepted it. At times, I took 4 guys out at one time because we didn't get back on defense two straight times in the second half. And the next 4 guys came in, good attitude. When I went back to those other guys, they were fine.
The Sun Devils have a couple of days to gel before playing Utah Tech this Sunday at home at 1 p.m. Staying with basketball, the Suns played the Warriors in a close game last night in Golden State. Devin Booker played his leading role well, but the Warriors ended the game on top. The 4-time All-Star played his usual game. Booker took the lead on offense again, and he scored a season high of 38 points, his 6th game of 30 points or more this year. It also makes him the 6th in the league in points per game. Not a bad start to the season for Book. It may not be on the court, but there's a set of fraternal twins at Saguaro High School who are commanders on the field and the diamond. Johan Lopez has more with the story.
Am I talking now or is she?
Let's go with you.
Go with me? Okay.
Twin siblings Jack and Tyler Moag are both star athletes at Saguaro High School in Scottsdale. One twin snaps the ball, the other twin catches the ball. Jack, who was older by 10 seconds, is the starting center of the football team, while Tyler is the starting catcher for the softball team.
Okay, we have a lot of fun. Like, obviously, like, we're twins, so, like, he gets on my nerves more than any other person in the world. But, like, I feel like that's just what makes us, like, closer at the end of the day.
They say, you know, if you have twins, you know it's your built-in best friend. So you do everything together from the time you're young to the time you're old. We do every single sport together.
The Moag twins are each other's biggest supporters, but at the same time, each other's biggest critics.
One thing I love about them
is they're very honest with each other. And so they can go to each other and talk and say, hey, how do you think I did in this game? Or how do you think I did in that situation?
They're very close. There's something special that they have with that twin bond. They can fight like nobody's business too, but when the going gets tough and they need a pep talk, they run to each other.
The center position on the football field and catcher on the diamond are two different positions, but both have command of the field.
I was told I was playing center. I had to get a bunch of snaps in. You know, she was up early in the morning with me just catching my snaps until they got too fast, and then she said, Jack, I'm tired, go away.
I would see like his work ethic and like, I don't know, I would be like the one like sitting on the couch while he's like going and running, and it made me want to like get up and go do something.
Twin siblings Jack and Tyler are competitive both on and off the field, especially when they find themselves in the same math class.
I got the highest grade on every test. Just saying.
The competitiveness does not stop on the field. It's everyday stuff, like who can make breakfast better, and just like all around, just like the best person you can be is just exemplify like through our competitiveness every single day.
The twins are currently seniors and both have been offered to play in college, where they will have to make a big decision.
It would be great if we could get the same opportunity out of college. I would definitely do that. But yeah, as of right now, we're both just weighing our options to where we want to play in college and seeing where we go. I can't put into words how much I want to miss her. So yeah, my best friend.
Wherever the Moag twins end up, they will always be connected. In Scottsdale, Johan Lopez for Cronkite News.
And in Cardinals news, head coach Jonathan Gannon announced the team is sticking with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. This comes after he led the Cardinals to a win over the Cowboys, 27-17. And he'll have some runway after Kyler Murray was placed on IR, keeping Kyler Murray sidelined for at least 4 weeks. Brissett will lead the team against the Seahawks this Sunday. That's it for tonight's Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Farah Bojalid. Now back to Christopher and Aiden at the desk.
Coming up next, popular list of baby names in 2025 are released.
Yeah, so what's changed for parents in 2025? After the break, find out if your favorite name made the cut.
This is where Cronkite can be creative.
When I was younger, there were no engineers around me, so I had to become my own role model. At ASU, I wasn't just learning to be an engineer, I was actually engineering. And graduating, I already had real-world jobs lined up. Before ASU, my goal was to be a strong, confident woman. And when I left, I became a strong, confident engineer.
Parents who are expecting, listen up, because we might have the list just for you.
And the most popular baby names for 2025 have just been released. And the top spot remain the same. Olivia is the most popular name for girls. Noah is the most popular name for boys. There are 2 unique names joining for girls. That's Eliana and Aurora. For boys, it is Luca, which pushed out Leo for the number 10 spot.
That's it for tonight's edition of Cronkite News. I'm Christopher Zavallos.
I'm Aiden Blank. Thanks for joining us. And to see Arizona top stories anytime, log on to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.